welcome back to the Stoop football fans. It's your boy Lolo back on another Friday night from the basement, kicking off another Premier League weekend. But we already had some Premier League starting today. At least one team was playing. I gotta say, Chelsea Fulham just finished right now, just a few hours ago, and I gotta say, man, Fulham is one of these teams that I just enjoy watching right now. They're a team that goes balls to the wall 100% of the time. And maybe it's because they remind me of playing FIFA. Like they slide tackle way too much. But we'll get into all the football action in just a moment when I have other people to talk to me with. But right now, it is no longer January. John, is it? Crack them open. Crack them if you got them. We love that sound. Cheers to you, John. You made it.
Yeah. First one, actually. I haven't had one yet.
Me neither.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't had one yet today.
All right.
Well, John, glad to have a beer with you. And if you guys are at home, cheers. Guys and gals and everybody else, if you're at home on this Friday night watching us or wherever you are, crack one open and have one with us, and let's talk some football. So I want to say what's up to everybody who's in the comment section already. It looks like there was a lively discussion in the comments while they were waiting for us to get the show up and running. I think Anders was first up. He says Chelsea used to play boring football, but still win. Now they can only play boring football. Very well said there. Very well said. Spawny Mark was even in the comments. There you go. I'm more interested in how well Fulham played. See, he's stealing my things, even though he put it before I ever said it. Jimmy Bremmer's Ghost, good to see you guys. Ping Cushion, Scooby D2. You guys are talking about something that Jimmy's drinking, I assume. Very good to see that. And who else I saw that I wanted to shout out to? You guys were talking for a while. I'm still scrolling. Goodness gracious. I'll have to go back and read this for bedtime reading. McChronicle, yes, sir. He says, Lolo, don't forget 7:30 a.m. kickoff for us tomorrow. My man. Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. And it works out perfectly timed because I have to take my daughter for a whole day of activities, leaving the house at 9:45, which perfect time. Perfect time there. So we'll get into Arsenal going to Everton. We'll get into that in a little bit, and we'll get into all the other action. Ping Cushion, Bandy Fornaski, Gary, everybody. Jimmy Brimmer's Ghost with a big 10-pound donation. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. See, because next winter, we're looking to invest over 600 million pounds into the Stoop show. So let's start now. He's got 10 on it. We're well on our way to 601 million pounds. BxGunner says Blunt's lit. Well, there you go. Friday night. Do what you got to do. Mr. Tom, Mr. POTUS 5000. There you go. All right, glad to see you on the show, Mr. POTUS 5000 and Ben Ireland. Okay, big up to all the Stoop crew who's here. We got a lot to talk about this evening. The transfer window closed. A record amount of cash was splashed, mostly by one team. We got a whole load of Dyche back in the league. If y'all were missing Mr. Sean Dyche, he is back, and I know one of our guys has really missed him. Probably Sean Dyche's biggest fan, who is not a Burnley or any other team that he coaches fan. It's Spawny Mark himself. Get in here.
What's going on, everybody? Yes, it is true. There is no other Premier League manager, former or present, that I would rather drink with than Sean Dyche. The man who, even though his match was canceled because of snow, he stood out there in a short sleeve dress shirt and said, what, we're going to cancel? My boys are ready to play, which means he was ready to play.
Yeah. He's playing against Tottenham.
I'm so ridiculously excited to see that Sean Dyche is back in the Premier League. Unfortunately, it's going to be short-lived because he was brought on by Everton, a team who I will put all of my winnings from that I got from Arsenal 2 weeks ago. I will put all my winnings saying that Everton gets relegated.
Really? I mean, that's the job that they brought him in to do. I was going to say,
Not get relegated. Yes.
Yeah, to not get relegated. You're saying that they are going to get relegated.
I do believe, because basically they took their best player, sold them for $45 million, and they pocketed the money. They did fuck all in the transfer window, and they
Well,
sold
they got Sean Dyche.
their-
They got Sean Dyche.
They got
a big
Sean
deal.
Dyche, Mr. Park the Bus 2.0 himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, as excited as I am to see Sean Dyche back in the league, it's not his football that I'm excited to see. It's not the football. It's just him. It's like you said, I'd like to have a beer with him. I like to see him in post-match conversations.
He's
and
also
stuff like
kind
that,
of the throwback.
This beer is so
To
freaking
where
good.
he's
It
not
is so
like
good, right?
he's not wearing the
What
not
am I
wearing the
thinking?
sweatsuit. He's not wearing the
Dumb idea.
the zip up turtleneck. No, he comes out Tom Landry style of the old Dallas Cowboys, and he's wearing a suit and like no jacket.
I think he was in like a short sleeve. Like that white shirt is a short sleeve.
He was in the snow.
That white shirt is a short sleeve. That's how classy he is.
I don't think so on this one. I think the other one was a little bit for show.
So Mark, well let's before we get inundated with Arsenal fans and other people on the show, it's just me and you, pal. Sean Dyche, his first, they're throwing him into the fire. They're like, okay, welcome. Just to let you know, Shawnee D, the spending is ridiculous this winter. So, get excited. People are spending tons of cash. It's going to be awesome. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we're not doing that. Your first match, it's against Arsenal. And I know you've played Arsenal before. You've played Arsenal a lot. It's not that Arsenal. So do you think new manager bounce against the league leaders at home, threatening their ownership with physical violence? I remember last year when we went to Everton and we needed to win our last, we needed to stay on a run, and we scored 1 goal, and then they came back and scored 2 goals to beat us. And that was a match where there were protests all before the match. There were protesters during the match, huge flags and banners. I think Rafa was still there. I think that was Rafa Benitez, and they wanted Benitez out.
Oh, is this with Everton? Crazy.
Yeah, with Everton. And they got a win from us, even though at the time, we were by far the better team.
Did they have placards too?
They had placards. They had Packards.
They had clipboards.
Zippos.
They had clipboards, and they also had
paddle balls.
Prince Edward in a can.
They had Prince Edward piercings.
I'll tell you this, that you Arsenal fans should not take Everton lightly tomorrow.
I'm not. I just explained to you why I'm not.
I think there's a lot of Arsenal fans out there saying, this is Everton. They're on their way out. They sold Anthony Gordon. They got Sean Dyche in there. But on that last note, having Sean Dyche as a manager, he knows the Premier League. He knows how to get a point. I'm not saying he knows how to win, because he doesn't have the ingredients for that soup, so to speak. But you know what? I would not be surprised if Dyche parks the fucking bus and just defends the goal rather than play a game. And I'm gonna give a little pre betting in the dark right here. I'm going to go with a draw and I'm going to go with a correct score of 0-0.
Mark, I don't know if he can turn it around that fast. It's not like he had the winter break or the World Cup break like Lopetegui.
No, but he did have the FA Cup break.
He had a week.
And they signed
and a half or
nobody, so there's no one to teach the new thing. But
Yeah.
he's very familiar with Tarkowski, and Connor Cody will fucking listen to him.
Yeah,
And you know, I think despite the fact, and I could talk about another bet where I have Odegaard scoring and Arsenal winning. But I do believe that there is a possibility here that, you know, again, they hired a manager who knows the Premier League. He has people in on the defense side, which is what Sean Dyche is all about. He's all about the defense. And he has people that he's familiar with. Tarkowski is the number one example here. And I do think that this could be something.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. He's from Wisconsin, you know. He's from
No. That it wasn't a
He's
yeah,
from
no.
Ashland.
No.
He's from Ashland, you know. And he's going to be talking about the Packers in the next half hour.
No, well, the thing is about Sean Dyche is no, it was more of a nah. No, I hear everything you're saying, Mark. I hear you.
If you're going to do it, you have to go. Yeah, no. It's very quick. Yeah, no.
I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not trying. I don't want. See, you're taking all the steam out of my no because you're making it fucking Midwestern mom. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no. Now come over for some hot dish.
I don't know what I'm saying.
You don't even know.
No.
It's like a Frito bowl. It's like a Frito bag.
Mark, let's look at it.
Chili, whatever.
I hear what you're saying, but let's look at it with the current Arsenal team as we have it. The only team who's been able to do that is Newcastle. And Newcastle have the best defense in the league. On paper, they have the best defense in the league, and they were able to withstand assault after assault, and then could even play out and play on the counterattack and try and actually get something out of it. Everton, I think if they park the bus the entire time, we'll break through. We'll break through eventually. Newcastle, we had to be concerned with the over the top, with the runners, with everybody, and because they are attacking an attacking side as well.
My thing with Newcastle is that I really believe they miss Matty Cash. Matty Cash has been injured for like the last month, and all they've done is draw. Yeah,
Newcastle.
Yeah.
All they've done is draw. No, that's not true. Newcastle have been winning.
Pretty sure that they've been drawing.
They've had
maybe not like every single, but I mean, they've been drawing more than they've been winning.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Knick-Knack says the volume seems a little bit on the low side. Is that on us? How loud do I have mine? Yeah, I guess maybe.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, that's what the director's here for. So, all right, Mark. Well, we talked a little bit about that. Now we can let some other people in. But before that, Mark, what are you most interested in this weekend, this Premier League weekend? I mean, Wolves got Liverpool. That's a test.
I think for me, the match that excites me the most is on Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Forest and Leeds.
Yeah.
That, to me, I think is a very, very interesting match.
Forest, bought
Both teams
29
have
players. 29 new players.
yeah.
That's 29 new
And
players.
to me, it's almost like let's find what works by attrition. You know, we're just gonna buy. We're just gonna buy like we are.
Like, where's Jesse Lingard? Is
w-
Jesse Lingard still on the team? What?
I'm
don't
sorry,
know.
but who's
know.
Jesse Lingard? Oh,
yeah. Jimmy says lots of history between the Scabs and Leeds. Yeah.
sure.
So that looks to be a fantastic fixture, and we've got the new American contingency growing even more at Leeds with Weston McKennie. I'm excited to see Weston McKennie in that Leeds team. It sucks about Rodrigo. I think, Mark, you were the one who told me about that first.
Yeah,
Breaking
it
news
definitely
from Tony
sucks.
Mark.
It definitely sucks about Rodrigo. My understanding is that when Leeds asked for Paddy Bamford to step up, he hurt his foot. Hey!
See, it would be a very funny joke, but it's more like I'm scared that it's gonna happen. That it's just true. It's just true.
So your mistress club truly is Leeds.
No, I have a lot of friends who are Leeds United. Mistress club. I mean, I enjoy Leeds United fans. I really enjoyed Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds. Now this season, if there's like a team that I really enjoy watching, it was Newcastle until they came and played that horrible fake ass match against us, which made me say fuck them. I'm going with Fulham. Fulham is the team that I enjoy watching besides my own team because they're fun. They slide tackle. They they go nuts. So I really enjoy Fulham right now. I'm. It sucks that they don't win as many
Fulham
matches
played a
as
great
they do,
match, man. I mean,
Willian was fantastic.
I was very
Tete was
impressed by them.
fantastic today. Yeah.
Oh, I
So,
thought I'm gonna butcher the name, but Palinho.
What team are you talking about?
Give me a minute.
What team are you talking about?
I'm talking about Fulham.
Paulinho.
Paulinho was awesome.
Paulinho was awesome.
Paulinho was awesome.
And
Mitrovic
Anthony
was okay. And to be honest, man, like Jedi seriously, awesome. Like no pressure on him at all. But Willian,
I'm saying,
he
Willian
put in
was
a
fantastic.
Shift. He put in a shift.
And when people were earlier when we got Jorginho earlier this week, and everybody's like, "Oh, here we go, Willian again," and I'm like, you know what? Willian looks good in the right system, and he's like what 34.
34,
like stop calling 26-year-olds old. Like, oh, we got Trossard. He's a little old. I'm like, he's like fucking 26. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean that comes down to a lot of things. You know, one being is that you buy the narrative.
And Mark, I know we're bouncing around conversations here, but I'm reading in the comment section right now, and they're talking about Voldemort. Hopefully Voldemort doesn't get a cheeky goal, free kick, a magical free kick. And I'm like, oh yeah, Nottingham Forest got John Joe Shelby. He's coming for you. He's coming for you.
I was actually really happy about that because he's a player that was totally solid for Newcastle before they were purchased by whatever a banking firm in the Middle East. Basically got pushed to the bench, hasn't done fuck all since he's healthy. I'm actually really excited for his experience to go to a young team like Nottingham Forest. I think good for him. Good for him.
I think they brought him on for his leadership. Definitely. I think his playing days are on the decline, but definitely brought him in for his leadership. Mark, they're banging down the doors right now Just realized we're like 20 minutes in the show.
Well,
Gary's
as Paul
banging the door.
McCartney would say, "Open the door and let him in."
Oh, let him in.
Ooh,
Let him
yeah,
in.
Hello.
What's up, Gary?
Not much.
This is Gary from Don't Waste the Trip, everybody. He does a show called The Trip. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's absolutely fantastic. They talk a lot more not nonsense than we do. So,
True. True.
yeah, he makes me have stats and stuff, so I stopped going on that show.
Their show is vacant of nonsense.
No, we have Mr. Tom, so that is not true.
Yes, the only Arsenal show.
No, that's just sense. You are lacking the non.
The only Arsenal show who features a Leeds United guy on their show. Speaking of Leeds United, we've also got Ben Ireland. Ben, get in here, our resident Leeds fan. What's going on, man? Hey, Ben, I wanted to ask you. There was a little controversy in Ireland. Some team won something with an extra player on the pitch, and they won a did you guys read about that at all? I saw it on Twitter. So, like for the last free kick of the match, somehow somebody else got on the pitch. They threw in an extra defender, an extra man, and nobody saw it, and they won that. Well, then somebody put up a clip. Let me see if I can find it, of York City, which made me think of you. York City has a football team, right?
Yes.
York City, when they won a match, at the last minute, they're pressing the goal, and they're wearing black shorts and red tops.
Yeah, navy blue shorts, red tops. Yeah,
navy blue shorts and a red top, and they score a goal. And they're running. The guy scores a goal, and he's run. He slides. He stands up. Everybody's cheering with him, and then they realize he doesn't have a number on the back of his kit. It was a pitch invader who ran on the pitch and actually finished the goal and scored the goal.
I've not actually heard of that. No.
That was York City. I thought you might have known.
No, I've never heard of that. So yeah, you learn something every day.
Yeah, I'll show you. But anyway, good to see you, Ben. Are you worried about John Joe Shelby? Voldemort?
No. First of all, I can't stand Sean Dyche. I think his tactics belong in the 80s. His excuses belong in the 80s. And his football's just awful. So, John Joe Shelby, I don't think Forest know what they're... We've got to take advantage of that. I don't think they know what the best team is. It's going to be hard to blood that many players in. So...
well, I mean, that was kind of their problem in the beginning of the season to begin with. Was,
to be honest, they should be looking at beating teams like this comfortably. If what Jesse Marsh says is true, you know, that we're a good team and this, that, and the other, it's time to start showing it. So they've backed him in the transfer market. So let's.
I gotta say, Ben. The fact that Sean Dyche runs an offense or a defense or a game that is based out of the 80s is the reason why we watch. We don't see that anymore. It's a throwback, and it's super entertaining. It's far more entertaining than consolidating all these players and trying to,
I've got an answer to that.
Create. He you know what?
Watch League Two and League One.
What Sean Dyche does is he puts together a product that is fun to watch as a game. Everyone else is putting together entertainment.
He sits behind the ball and then hopes for to snatch a winner. It's awful football. You can watch that week in, week out in the lower leagues if that excites you. It's just both sides do it.
Who says that I don't?
So there you go. Sean Dyche is awful. His football's awful, and it's about time Everton went down, to be honest. Bless you.
I think he's saying bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah, what is going on there? Okay, I got something for you if you're ready to see it. Jesus, Mark, maybe mute your thing there. Okay, you guys got to see this. I mean, I already gave it away, but check this out. Oh, I didn't even notice he took the free kick.
Yeah, he just took the free kick. Yeah.
So how does nobody notice this? They let him take the free kick.
What? Nice strike. Nice strike. The best thing is
He doesn't have a number on the back of
he
his
just
kit.
jumped in the
How
crowd.
do the players not know who he is?
Yeah. That's
Are they
crazy.
trying to make him disappear now? This is when you should make him
Yeah, I mean,
disappear.
they're like, get down. It was a great strike.
That was a really nice strike. Yes. It was a nice little slice area. Zoop.
He's got his own shorts on.
Well, he's got a little-
He looks like Harry Maguire.
I mean, he's got cleats on. He's got boots on.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So it counted?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Count,
That was
right?
York
It can't
City.
officially count. I mean,
I have no idea more than that. I thought Ben would be able to tell us about that. But
No,
anyway,
I've
hopefully
never.
we don't see any of that. Let's go ahead and bring on what happened to Mark. He sneezed his way off of the show.
can't believe he said
Are
that.
you all
That's
right?
good. That's
Oh,
what did he
he's
say?
still.
That's the kind of football people want to see. I don't know what
That kind of football.
Let's watch paint grow, grass grow,
No
paint
way.
dry, and all that stuff peel.
Yeah, I'm with
Well,
you there.
Gary, we've already spoke of the devil, and he did appear. So let's bring him on. It's Mr. Tom, everybody.
Hello.
What's going on, Mr. Tom? How are you?
We
I
always
am
wear
wonderful.
that shirt on the same.
Oh, Jesus. Are
It's
you
a
guys
great
playing
shirt.
away?
It's a great shirt. We've got our greatest wins in this shirt. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Stuart Dallas shirt.
You're muted, Mark.
That was the Man City.
Mark, you
that was the
muted.
Man City
Thank you.
shirt.
And Everton.
Mr. Tom, I'd like to ask a question. Have you mourned the death of Lenny Pafo?
Well, yeah, in the sense that it was sad to see
I'm
someone
the
die.
only one that knows who Lenny Pafo is. It's crazy.
He's the brother of Randy Poffo, who most people would know better as the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Speaking of wrestling, is that Ted DiBiase?
It definitely
It
is the
is.
$1 Million Man. Absolutely.
Which I should have brought out last week, seeing as Mark was the $100 man.
No, Mr. Tom, I was the 100-aire.
You
The
could.
hundred
There he
there,
is.
There he goes.
There he is.
King Mark there.
Money
If you up your
Monster
bets a bit,
Mark.
If you put all the
3M.
winnings
Oh.
on this month's bet,
And
You
you
could
Leeds
become Ted
United fans,
DiBiase.
Colonel Ward just threw down the gauntlet saying, what, your greatest wins, what were they, 3-0 over League Two clubs? Ouch. Actually, it was a 2-1 win over Manchester City with only 10 men. Actually, that would be, to me, the greatest win in that
rival.
kit. So good to see you, Tom. And speaking of wrestling, I hear you've got something interesting coming up with wrestling.
Yeah, I have. Last week, there was a message appeared in the trip group thing from Gary going, "Is the Royal Rumble on?" To which caught me by surprise. And then Lolo said, I'm paraphrasing, right? I can't remember exactly. I ain't got it in front of me. But he basically said along the lines of, "Oh, Tom's probably on one of the 100 channels he's on, doing a watch along of it." And I wasn't. I was just sat watching it, and I was thinking, why not doing a watch along of it? This is madness. And then, because with me and Tony, who you may know from Arsenal Fan Circle and the trip and various things, basically for like a year it's been, we should do a podcast about this. And then because Lolo operated on the assumption that I was doing one when I wasn't, I was like, I should just make one. So I did. And I'm going
And
live
where-
tomorrow night.
Where
And
can we
I
see this,
will-
Tom?
I'm going to put it in the thing. Oh,
Is
wait,
this
it
your
won't
own
let- I've
channel?
got to
You're creating
subscribe.
your own channel?
I made it.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
I
I'll
made
leave
it. It's like he's
I
bringing
made
his
it.
fucking homework home from school. I made
Looks
that.
like
Yeah.
you made
Yeah.
it.
If you hadn't already made it, I was gonna say we can always add some wrestling content. We could do on the stoop, on the ropes with Mr. Tom.
That
No,
was Tuesday.
no,
on
no,
the turnbuckle.
no. We're gonna call it against the turnbuckle.
Well, I was trying to
He's-
stick
he's
with
got
on
a
the
nice
stoop
name. Tell him
something.
the
On the
name.
top
Let's go.
turnbuckle.
Against the
Uh-huh.
turnbuckle.
Because me and Tony are a pair of fools.
I thought he was gonna
we've
call
gone
it
for
"It's Not
the
Fake,
Full
You're Fake"
Nelson
with Mr.
podcast.
Tom.
Oh, that'd have been great as well. All these great names are coming up after the fact.
You
And
should have
BX
consulted.
After the fact.
How about
Well, it's
Mr.
not
Tom
like
and
you
Tights?
consulted us in the first place.
And by the way, just in case you
It's
hadn't
awesome.
heard, BxGunner and I are starting our own channel that he just told me about right now, live on camera, where he says he's starting his own cannabis and footy show called The Smoking Cannons. Can I be your first guest? I think that would be awesome if we like watch
No,
football
man, the first
stupid high.
the smoking cannon best.
What?
You heard me.
No, Mark.
Reaching.
So,
Did not get points for
basically,
that. Whatever. That's terrible.
Basically, we're
The
aiming to
Fool
go live
Nelson
once a week.
podcast.
We're aiming to go live on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but also we're going to do the monthly pay-per-view watch-alongs. And
All right.
basically, if you're into that sort of thing, please join us. If you're not, don't waste your time. You won't like it.
Well, yeah, if you want, I will, I'll help you out. I'll try and get my buddy Keith Greenberg to be on your show at some point if you would like him to be, just to tell you stories. I mean, that dude should have his own freaking podcast.
That would
to
be
begin with.
awesome. I met that Keith Greenberg.
So, all right. So after plugging that, we're like 30 minutes of just plugging people's shows. So let's bring on our other guest, Mark. He's going to be your enemy this week. He's the enemy to all of us because he actually watches football and knows stats. It's Chris from Dirty Jersey, the Liverpool fan. What's up, Chris?
What's up, boys?
Ooh.
Chris.
We just play Wolves like 4 times a month now. It's like it's the new
I was
schedule.
going to say, like, you play
Look,
Wolves
dude,
a lot.
It's totally fine. I mean, you're gonna win. It'll be there'll be a VAR decision. There's an offsides, but the new rule, who knows? I mean,
Mark, I know it sounds like you're bitching a little bit, but a stat just came out and
guess
said
what?
even though
I'm
Liverpool
gonna
are
bitch
as
about
terrible,
that fucking first FA Cup round.
you should. I'm on your side
Bullshit.
here because it said as bad as Liverpool are, can you believe they've actually had the most VAR decisions go their way? So imagine if those VAR decisions didn't go their way.
That means the ref is initially against us, and it has to be corrected.
I don't know. You know, I mean, Chris, I'll talk to you directly. I don't think we have any chance in the world beating you. I think Liverpool is going to fucking score 3 goals on us.
I don't know, man. I think you have a.
I
think the,
and that's like speaking from a fan is like last year. This year, I'm just saying I want to see the squad that we're going to put out there.
we have no.
I don't understand what. I don't understand the Wolves right now. Midway through last year's season, we were like just a couple of spots away from, Europe at least. I don't know. And we have all of a sudden we went like 20 weeks without scoring a goal or without a win or just
Mark,
it crushes
Mark,
me.
it's not doom and
Even-
gloom for you
No.
right now. You've signed a
I
lot
don't
of
think it's
really good
I don't
players.
think it's dim
You
and
have a really
gloom,
good manager.
but I don't understand the fall.
No,
I
you
don't
guys are going to be
understand
one
the
of the
fall.
teams that relegates Everton. The fact that you guys are going to work your way out of this, Everton, Southampton, Bournemouth, those clubs. I mean, I hate to say it, but even
All right,
Nottingham
so-
Forest, with everything they've done, are like, you guys have direction right now. I think give it a couple weeks, and you guys are going to be clicking.
I can explain Wolves' fall. It's a no. It's not to be a dick about it. The reality is that when you're not in that top 6, which will become a 7 with Newcastle, the reality is that the margin between you being 7th, 8th, and 16th isn't actually that great. There's actually like small moments in games that dictates whether you're going to be at the top end of the bottom 14 or the bottom end of the bottom 14. And partly it's because where you basically had such a great defence for a few years where you weren't conceding goals, it didn't actually matter that you weren't prolific scorers. Whereas where you're defending hasn't been as sharp now, the fact that you don't score many goals has actually become a problem.
Yeah. It's becoming an albatross on our back.
What is you think about this from the perspective of like Connor Cody going to Everton? Like, what did he really get out of that? He went to an Everton that's in shambles. Like, I do think like Wolves just was arguably pound for pound the best defensive team in the league last year.
What I think happened there was that Connor Cody didn't fit into Bruno Lage's overall plan. I myself, as a fan, didn't understand it. He was our captain. He provided a lot of like fucking leadership. I mean, he's a leader on the England team, and he doesn't even sniff the pitch.
But that's the thing with a club
for
like
me, what when it came down to Connor Cody, the Wolves basically decided that they wanted to run with a certain lineup. It was not conducive to what he can do, where he excels at. He went to Everton, and he immediately was like, "I'm a Scouser at heart, and this is where I want to be." He's gonna play a really big role in Arsenal's draw with Everton tomorrow, 7 Eastern time. I got nothing.
I think he's been found out though in a back four. He's I don't think he is a good center back in a back four. I think he's better in a back three the way Wolves like.
That's exactly right, and that's what Sean Dyche plays. He does a back three.
It doesn't matter what they do. I don't think it even matters how long Dyche is there for. You can't just say Dyche is this, but what you've been seeing from Arsenal for this whole entire season will be thwarted by Dyche because he's come in with a week left.
The only thing that I see is that you have been made felt uncomfortable that I'm saying this, and you actually think that it could happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I've been watching my team all season, haven't you? Yes.
I think you got rid of him.
I've seen everything.
I've seen
everything.
Yeah, I do. It's a power play.
I think the tactical thing is true. Like, I understand that he felt he played better in the Everton defensive system, but I think there was an element of what Bruno Lage did to him, what Brendan Rodgers did to Kasper Schmeichel, as in you probably still have got.
How did we get to Bruno Lage?
Because he was the manager when he left.
He was. I'm sorry. I'm really lost.
He was the head coach.
He was the manager when Connor Cody left.
So
he was your manager when Connor Cody left.
Yes.
Yeah. So this has nothing to do with Lopetegui. It's that my opinion is that Bruno Lage made a risky decision to get rid of a popular player because he may have overshadowed his own influence in the dressing room. Obviously, I
We have
can't
more
prove
pulp.
that. Yeah, but I think it's similar to why Brendan Rodgers got rid of Schmeichel.
I do. I think there was a clash, either a clash of egos or he was a threat to him somehow. Why'd you
Or
get rid
We'll
of
never
him?
know.
More similarly, João Cancelo off to Bayern Munich, who that has personal issues written all over it.
You got to feel
because-
for him, really, because they say he's been out of form, but he's never been asked to tuck into midfield like that. And when City have the ball, he's spending the majority of the game tucked in as a midfielder. So
Yeah, and the one match where they played him and Kyle Walker on the same side, like João Cancelo, Kyle Walker's a right back, right? Right?
Mhm.
Kyle Walker?
yeah,
So was João Cancelo. But he came to City and they're like, Kyle Walker's our right back. You're going to be a left back. So he learned to be a left back and he was fantastic as a left back, forward playing left back. And then anytime Kyle Walker was out, he was able to jump sides. Just a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or so, they played Kyle Walker as a right back and João Cancelo right in front of him as like a wing back or something. And they're like, oh my God, he's so bad. And I'm like, they're
He's the
essentially
same player,
they're stepping on each other.
yeah.
Like, no, that's not
63
it's
million.
interesting.
I think that's a steal. I really do think that's a steal.
How much?
63 million at the end of the season.
Oh man, any one of our teams would have taken him.
Oh,
Imagine him
definitely.
coming over to Arsenal. I mean, they've already said Man City's not selling any players to Arsenal anymore. So
It's
I
also
would've only
not,
took him
as
it's
a
not a
right
bad
back,
deal for City either. Like, it's not
No.
like,
no, yeah.
it's still a chunk of change.
He ain't displacing Firpo.
Yeah, but
No.
they go from playing Rico Lewis
But he's a right
as
back.
as a tactical thing to having to play Rico Lewis and Nathan Ake as a left back, like crazy shit.
So
So
that's off to
Being a
Ake. He
defender
had
in that
Saka in his
team-
pocket last week. He did.
Ake was
And,
actually fantastic.
And that's
Yeah.
not an easy thing to
Ake
do,
was-
is it? Let's be
He's
honest.
been really improved.
Ake's
this
goal
year.
was really good, to be fair. Like, for a defender, that
It
finish
was like a
quite nice.
pass.
Boo,
To me,
boo,
no.
don't even say that, dog.
Ake's goal
It
was
a nice
more of a
finish
pass.
for a
Boo.
defender.
Everybody
Yeah.
was
What's going
surprised.
on, Gary? What are you
I don't-
booing about?
Mr. Thomas.
Ake's
talking. I don't
goal
want to hear
was
that.
a pass that slowly curled in because nobody got on the end of it.
Oh,
Oh,
Can you
we
save
no.
this
decided
for-
what tomorrow's-
Can you save this for Saturday afternoon and Monday
Arsenal
night?
lost.
Why do I have to
know
save
what
it?
tomorrow's
You say that
tactics
now.
track is
I
gonna
mean,
be.
who
I know it's-
cares? You
The
don't.
tactics track is
loss
going to
is
be
a-
You're
Nathan
just like,
Ake.
oh my god.
That
We
loss
couldn't
is
have
a blessing.
possibly lost. We'd let them win.
So,
Listen to Chris. He knows.
question for you then. On each of you, but I'll let you answer for me, Tom. So, how'd you
Well,
rate your
do you
club's
mind if
business?
we bring in? Do we mind if we bring in our last guest who's
No,
been
no,
waiting
not
in the
at all.
wings for like 20 minutes before you ask this question?
That's
We
just
all wait for 20
Bring him in,
minutes.
Bring
bring
them
him
out.
in.
Bring them out.
There-
Oh shit!
oh my god, it's
Oh,
Michael
look at
Jackson.
this.
Mark, get dressed.
Is it Gino?
Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Gino.
Oh,
Oh, damn.
shit!
Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
like.
I got better rings than you, son.
Is that a Super Bowl
Go
ring?
fuck yourself.
Hey, if I had a
What
thumb long enough, I would.
Yeah, but you don't.
Hey,
All right,
Hey,
hey, I thought I saw you at the deli. We had a chopped cheese together. We bought a couple of lottery tickets and we laughed at the guy that said,
You look like
"Just
Macaulay
put a
Culkin
fucking
last
You
time.
noose on
look
Biden."
like you, yeah,
Hey, hey,
you look like you're
Hey.
auditioning for My Cousin Vinny the musical.
No, I just came out of Sicily. It's all good.
You look,
no,
you
he
look
just
fucking
got
great.
out
You
of the
look class.
joint.
All right,
I
Ben,
don't
ask your
know.
question.
Fucking
So-
Christ.
Thanks for
Ask your
reminding.
question.
You think
and then we'll-
you think you know Rikers? You think you know
How would you
Rikers?
rate how would you rate your club's business in January then? Start with you, Lolo.
All right, starting with me. Like letter grade, number grade, or just like what do I
Just in
think?
general, yeah. Just do you think
Just in general,
you're happy?
I think look,
so,
we needed to have a better bench, and I think we did that. I think Trossard, like if you guys watched the episodes that we posted earlier today, me and Stan were discussing this a little bit with Melvin. I think we kind of lucked
Mervin.
into some really good shit. To me, if we got
did.
Mudryk and we got Caicedo and spent all that money, we probably wouldn't have got Kivior, the center back, because we would have blown all our wad on that. And those two players are very speculative players. They're going to take time. They're going to take adjusting. For way less, we get Trossard, who we saw him the day after he was in his first match, and he slotted in for Martinelli, helped us win the game.
Yeah.
Perfect. Jorginho, love him or hate him, say whatever you want about that. Dude's a winner. The dude is smart. He is, Cucurella even says, the smartest footballer he's ever met. And if Partey goes down or Xhaka goes down, or even we just need to close out a game, he's fantastic to have. If Partey, if his ribs are hurting tomorrow, Jorginho will get the start. And I feel that we can still win that game.
Yeah, I think with Jorginho, what you guys got
and the
was
Kivior,
an
by the way,
individual that can hold down the middle and play defense.
You got experience in a title-winning midfielder.
100% about your signing of Jorginho for Arsenal.
Right.
I am not angry about
You
that.
don't understand how vital that is, though, that you've got trophy winners in your team that's not won a trophy.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The mindset of Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko has done more for Arsenal than what they've done on the pitch. Their mindset walking in, and there's stories of the players saying, day one, Jesus walked up to me and told me, we can win the league. Zinchenko said, fuck top four, we're going for the league, and everybody laughed at him. Jorginho is the same. Like, to me, it was like, fuck, we need a closer. What we really need is a closer. He's not going to play every match, but anytime we need him, he'll do his job. He's going to do it perfect. And then behind the scenes, he can calm people down so we don't overlook teams like Everton. We don't overlook other teams where he's like, no, grind this shit out. And then if you look at Kivior, that might be the cheekiest, the sneakiest pickup of all, because everybody's like, oh, I never heard of him. He's a left-footed center back, which Arteta loves. And then he goes in and he breaks 3 Arsenal records in training of like the standing jump, the highest jump, and like the burst speed or something like that. So listen.
Did he also win the I've got the biggest cock measurement? I mean,
I'm not on his OnlyFans account, so
point,
you can tell me.
I mean,
that would be in the league. That'd be willing on to. There's a song about it.
Let's see him out on the pitch. Let's see what they do.
When we're talking about a
player.
Standing jump, who can jump the highest? He just broke a record for Arsenal, not Arsenal this year, for Arsenal.
They only measure.
Awesome.
He can
Do
jump
that every
high.
day. It doesn't happen, you know. I mean,
so
what?
You're happy then?
Yes.
Yeah,
he is.
I would say I'm happy because it doesn't. You didn't spend 120 million, bring some guy in that disrupts the locker room, thinks they're better than everybody. I feel like everybody's on the same page, and then you look at our bench, it looks really good now. It looks really nice now, especially with Jesus coming back, Reece Nelson coming back, Emil Smith-Rowe. Yeah, short answer, very long.
Hey Jed, how you doing? You want to talk?
He speaks with his hands.
I'll ask the same question to the capo. Yeah, we'll go to the capo.
Hey, don't be a bug job. Italy Jet, let me ask you, who's going to be the quarterback for the Jets next season? Huh?
Get
Tom
the fuck
Brady.
Out of here.
Aaron Rodgers.
Tom
I like
Brady.
that answer.
So
Next.
how do you rate
I'll
your
translate.
Gino?
Next.
How do you
Derek
rate West
Carr.
Ham's window?
Let me give you 2 words. Derek Carr. You
Nah,
know,
it's either gonna be him or it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers.
you
Carr or
think
Rodgers?
Rodgers.
Carr
Aaron
or
Rodgers going back home to the West Coast.
He ain't going to San Fran. He
Brett
ain't going to.
Favre.
He's going. I think he'll go to Vegas if he's
I
not
think
coming
it's
to
a
the
smoke
Jets.
screen. I think he goes to, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Can we
in
not
Vegas
talk
or
about
the
the
Jets.
Jets?
Hey, I don't know why he brought it up.
Can we talk about
but-
West Ham? How do you feel about West Ham's
I
transfer?
hate it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we got 2 players. One gets injured immediately. And it's kind of like West Ham doing right now. And then we got a young guy. I like the guy. He was on my favorite team in Brazil, Sao Paulo. I've seen him play, and he's pretty good. I think he just needs more work. But overall, I do like where we're going because we've won a few games, but only in the big cups right now. So I'm trying to stay positive. I know we're facing against Newcastle. They say it's going to be a good game, and I'm here like, okay, if it's going to be a good game, I think Newcastle is going to win in the final minutes, at least between 70 and 90. But what do you guys think? Do you think that they'll make it? I think they'll make it interesting.
Yeah, I think West Ham are safe anyway. I think they're not. They're in the fight with everyone, but I don't think they're one of the sides that are going to go down. But you kept Declan right, so that's got to be positive for you.
This is the
Well,
least
let me-
confident I've been about any one team going down. This is probably the most competitive relegation scrap that I think we're going to have.
Everybody got better.
Yeah.
Everybody got better in transfer room. That's fighting for relegation right now.
Everybody
Well,
but
and
Everton.
can I
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
talking about-
correct that statement there? You're saying everyone got better. I'm looking at the
the
reality of it all, and I'm thinking everyone spent. Like everyone spent money. Bournemouth spent like
Well,
60 million. Fulham
let's look at
spent 50 million. I mean, we have seen like some crazy spending.
Yeah.
And it the way I'm looking at it is like how is it that anyone can expect to succeed when you see people at the top spending so much money?
We saw
You
today.
know,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
driving me crazy.
We just saw today. Doesn't matter how much money was spent on that pitch today. Did you see anything that?
But
looked
I
like
think that
it worked?
disregards the money that Fulham spent.
Yeah, but you don't
They
know.
spent
I think
money too.
I think
They
a
just
lot of
spent their
those-
money more wisely, I guess.
Yeah, I think
based
a lot of
on that
those
result.
teams that don't spend $100 million on a player usually get a player one that's probably got a little bit more heart to them and gives it. And will listen to the
To be
manager.
honest
They
with
don't
you,
have.
I don't.
Both players
so-
look
Alright.
very good for Chelsea, given their
I
first
don't
their
fear
first
Chelsea
their first
even
time
with the
on
money
the
they've
pitch
spent.
with them.
I don't think they're
Alright,
the
I
best
can
team.
answer
They've got
this.
too many players.
No, I don't think so either.
Go on, Tom.
Well, okay, so the biggest complaint that arose out of Venom Road in January last year, possibly the year before, but not as much because we weren't really in as much trouble, was the fact that we didn't buy anyone in January. And yet last year, when it weren't looking too hot, we still made the decision to go with what we had, which in hindsight nearly backfired on us. So the reality is, in the Premier League, if you're not spending or reinforcing when you have the chance to do so, you at best are standing still. And at worst, you're going backwards because everyone else is giving themselves the chance to go forwards. So with that being said about Leeds, I am pleased that we've at least made some effort to get better. It could be argued we didn't reinforce in the area we probably needed to, but at the same time, we're now prepared for if Pat gets injured, Rodrigo is injured, but it's still all right. But now we've got options.
Yeah.
So could be worse.
And I think we improved. We improved on. I love Clicky. Don't get me wrong, but he's gone, and we improved. So we strengthened in the forward position. We've got potentially a great centre back signing. Let's hope he's on the levels of Nonto in progression. So and
I think McKinney's
and I think even though we've not been tested properly yet, but I like the look of Verba. He looks organised.
You guys got McKinney on loan, right?
Yeah, they got him.
Yeah.
But I think
move,
the clause options
Great move.
will be something
Great
daft,
move.
and we'll have to buy him. So I think it's
I think it's
40 million,
unless we
right?
go-
I think
yeah,
Is that
unless we
30
go
or
down.
40 million?
it's
35.
35 roughly.
You know
Yeah,
what you'll
roughly.
like about him, kind of like Click, is he doesn't have like the thunder boot that Click has, where he just kind of Click would score those Frank Lampard type goals. But he would actually, his goal record at Juventus, he kind of just gets in the mix and scores.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's
Good
a
with
range
his
of goals.
What he does for the U.S. men's national team as well.
Yeah,
Where-
agreed.
And he's an all-around player, and him and Tyler Adams have been playing together forever. Like they've grown up together.
Since kids, they've been playing
Yeah.
since kids. Yeah.
I think
So,
the one
and then-
thing that I might, the one strike I might have against McKinney is that he is, he's a bit soft physically. He gets hurt a lot, and I'm kind of wondering, in the Premier League, like how he'll hold up. You know,
Well, I think so. I think it helps that he's got a U.S. manager. I think that helps a lot, and that
Don't play
Adams
him
is
against
there too.
Everton.
I think they've built a good system around for that.
Yeah.
But
What about
when he
Liverpool?
sees
What
what
about
his
Liverpool's going on?
appearance bonus is, he'll find himself match fit.
All right. What about Liverpool's window?
I'd give it an eye.
terrible,
Eye for
non-existent.
No. One thing I will give Liverpool
Sorry.
credit for, they got a transfer done immediately. They got for a player like with it feels like about 3 years ago, but they got Gakpo done in this window and they got it done very quickly.
I think they got
Yeah.
Hackbo for a really good price for a position that they only really needed because of injuries, and we've been playing him out of position the entire time, so that's kind of frustrating. So that I still like that transfer in the long run. I think Salah's gone next year, so it won't be as crowded. But no even attempt.
Where do you think Salah goes?
PSG?
Really?
I think it's the only
Wow.
place
They're
that
the
It's
only
the
team
best
that can
model.
probably pay him what Liverpool pay him.
What about
Especially-
Real? What about Real?
I don't think Real's going to go for a 30-year-old wing. I think PSG.
They wouldn't pay. They wouldn't match his wages.
Exactly.
Real don't need him.
I'm thinking the money part. I'm not thinking like the age part.
But
So when he goes to PSG, who does he dislodge?
Yeah, I mean,
I think if Messi's gone, he's
Lionel
gonna
Messi's
go on the right. He'll be the left-footed.
I thought he was
Passer.
currently
Oh my
in
God,
massive
he's
con-
going to
contract
play
talks at
forever.
the
He's
minute.
going to get
Messi.
bionic.
No,
He's
they
gonna get a
have.
bionic eye. He's going to
him
get a
outta here.
bionic leg.
He
He's
has
gonna
2
play
years,
forever.
option of a third year, but that third year can only be activated if they both want to activate it. So if he basically fancies that he wants to go to Saudi Arabia, where he's already an ambassador for the country, then he can go.
Yeah, there's also a
Basically,
lot of
they
talk
can't
about
do it.
Xavi wanting to bring him back to Barca. I mean, I think,
yeah, exactly.
but I think that's the best opportunity where he's still going to play a lot. They would pay a decent fee for him, and with between Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi, I don't think all three of those folks are going to be there. One of them is going to be gone at least. So I think there's space.
I think an
Do we know
underrated
the
part
extension of how hurt Mbappe is? Didn't he hurt his leg?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't follow any of that.
But,
Kylian Mbappe, the second leading scorer in League One after Fuller
After
and Balogun.
Big
I
Flo.
know he's missing the
Balogun.
first Champions League leg.
Bringing
That's all I know.
Balogun back next year, going to be a Rolls Royce.
Did you see those?
But
finishes?
guys,
Can I have my
Where's
say
the
before?
leg?
Can I talk? Can I talk?
Fantastic.
Everybody else got to talk.
You can absolutely talk, but it's going to have to be after the break because I have a hard out today, and that was a minute ago. So, unfortunately, guys, I'm going to have to leave you. Hopefully, I'll be able to jump back on
You have a
in a
hard
little
on?
bit, but I
What?
hard
A
out.
hard-
Oh, okay.
Oh my god!
Hard is
I thought
out.
it was something else.
Put it back. Put it back. Put it back.
When I'm using my my set terminology of like wheels up, hard out. But I have to go upstairs and put the kids to bed. But I will hopefully jump back on. So we're gonna do our bio break right now, and then when we get back, somebody hopefully will let Gary talk for a second. And if not,
Just a
but I'm
second?
putting the show in the trusted hands of my lovely co-host, Mr. Mark. And Mark, speaking of which, you didn't get to mention Wolves. Would you mind if we play for the bio break your Wolves transfer video?
Oh my God, absolutely. So all y'all grab a beer, have a piss while this plays.
All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes and for the second half of the show. Sorry I got to check out, but hopefully I'll be back in a little bit.
How could you do?
Hey, what's going on, football fans? Spawny Mark on the stoop here to talk about Wolves' transfer window. A transfer window that saw the Premier League spend nearly $1 billion. Crazy money. Very happy with what the Wolves did. It was very quick. It was very decisive. It was met with purpose. Lopetegui in November when he was hired, he said, "I need at least 6 players." Guess what? Went out and got 6. He set out goals, saying we need to bolster our backside defensively. They went out and got Craig Dawson. They said that they needed someone physical in the midfield. They went out and got Mario Lamina. They said that they needed a midfielder that's going to be a little creative. It took a little time, and that kid stuck to his guns. He said, "I want to play for Wolves." João Gomez says, "I want to play for Lopetegui." He held out, and guess what? He's playing for Lopetegui. They also said that we need to get better up front in the final third. They went out and got Mateus Cunha, and they got Pablo Sarabia. I applaud. This was probably the best signing window, best January window, best winter window that we've had since I followed the club. This is it. I'm kind of over the moon. Look, did we splash the cash that Chelsea did? $350 million? No, we didn't. Did we go out and get some established stars and really just make a big splash like some of the other clubs? No, we didn't. Did we go out and solve some of the problems that we had? Maybe. Did we go out with a goal in mind? We definitely achieved that. So, I think with what we did in the window, definitely keeps, the other teams facing possible relegation on notice that we ain't fucking around. We're here to play. We ain't getting relegated. We're going to see how far we can go with this squad. Is it going to solve our scoring problems? Not really sure, but I feel a little bit better knowing that we have goals in mind and we're meeting those goals. So now it's time to get behind the squad and cheer that team on and say, "Go Wolves."
You're on mute, Mark.
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you. You're mute.
I'm sorry, say again?
You probably shouldn't tell him.
That he was on mute. You were on
Hear
mute.
you.
Oh, I knew I was on mute.
You were talking.
Tom,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love you, Tom.
And it's probably something I do, So
I forgot
those
you
are
got
on
Sarabia.
here. Gary, Tom. Thank you, Mo Master. Good to know you believe in me. What do y'all think about the money that was spent?
Can I talk about
In the
what
transfer
everybody
window.
talked about before we get into that?
Go on, Gary.
Maybe?
Go on, Gary, because
Can
we
I?
don't hear enough
Sure,
about
Gary.
Arsenal on the internet.
You
Glorious shine.
go, Gary.
Yeah, no, all the things that Lolo said I agree with. The things that
All right, stop it now.
What? Stop it. Anyway, so quick ring.
Yay.
I'm a process man. Yeah, I like the process because I like things that can be repeatable because then you know kind of where you're going, you know your direction. The fact that Arsenal's two biggest targets they failed on, and what they got in return for that is basically what we needed, you know, outside of another midfielder. But I don't like the fact that they went after these big targets when one Trossard was already there available, and if Casado wasn't even available to even pick up. So for me, that would seem like a waste there. And if Jorginho's who you wanted to go for, I would have gone a different direction because I know there were talk about picking up Danilo early in the window, and it would have been probably cool to pick up a Danilo along with a Jorginho and have the two midfielders, defensive midfielders that you need, since we're down two, and we did the same thing last January, down two strikers, didn't replace any of them. Did a little bit better this time because we actually did pick up a player, but I don't like the fact that they went after these number one targets and failed twice. Almost got to the third bid on the second one, and it just that one, the process. I don't like that part of the process. What they did at the end of the day was good, but I don't like if in the summer there's already talk about Rice, and anytime there's talk about a player from a previous window, we never seem to get it done. So we'll see what happens in this turnaround. You know, depending on where we finish up. I always said it should be easy to sell Arsenal to any player right now, right? Who wouldn't want to be part of this? As, you know, everybody looks at it and goes, that seems like a model way to go about doing things right now. It takes time, yes, but we're actually at a good point in it, and we're probably ahead of schedule, but still, it does work, right? When given time.
I kind of look at things as kind of like a card game. You know, I mean, there are times where Arsenal has come up with the cards and y'all folded. But in the end, I mean, you didn't win the game, but overall you walked away with a bunch of money.
That's luck. And some people would say that's luck.
Case in point, you're talking about the transfers that you missed out on. And I want to talk about the transfers that just fell in your lap. Last year you went after a dude,
Vlahovic,
whatever. I don't know his name. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's the one.
But you lost out on him. That was your target. You lost out on him, and you got Gabriel Jesus. You guys went after hard Lisandro Martinez.
Yep.
And you got Zinchenko. This year, you missed out on Murdoch.
Mudryk.
And you got Trossard.
Yeah. What is he from the A team? Is he in the A team, Mark?
Exactly.
What if that comes together?
I just don't understand. At what point do you Arsenal fans go, guess what? It's going to work out at the end.
You know what? You can't believe that's going to happen every time.
You didn't get Casado and all these things, but it's just like
it's not a good plan.
Fucking off. You guys are like sitting at the poker table, and these teams know that you will fold.
Well,
or
yeah,
someone
you know
else will come along and swoop in, but you guys go, oh, well, guess what? This is our system, and this is the next best guy that can fit in.
You know,
and you guys have crushed it. I have no idea why you Arsenal fans are complaining about getting Jorginho.
We're not complaining about that. For me, you could have done that. We could have been done with our.
Be like Jesse Ventura.
Well, listen,
Let me take you to my Twitter account.
We could have been done with our transfer period in the first week of the window based on the players that we picked up because they were all available. Nobody was looking at them. Look, if you think about any of those players, if they wanted to pick them up, they would have picked them up. Nobody did. right? Trossard was there. He was sitting at home, right? Ostracized from his team. Derior, anybody know about him until we picked him up? Nobody.
To be honest,
Jorginho, nobody knew about him either.
I have
nobody
no
thought that
idea
was
what
when
pissed
plans
everyone
together.
off at Brighton. But
Yeah, I
but
forgot
the
to see that.
crazy
I just
thing
don't-
is
it's
about
not-
Brighton,
it's not repeatable.
they're plug and play. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, we lose Trossard. We're gonna give you what's his name, Matoma, and he's a badass. Sorry.
I just don't think it's a plan that you can keep repeating and expecting it to work every time.
Yeah, but I mean,
Got number one
you guys-
targets that
you guys might
Yeah.
start winning those a year from now. I think there's still maybe a concern that I don't think this is the case. That maybe you guys are overperforming, but I think you win the league like you should, and you're going to start landing those deals. You know, I remember we lost out on Salah the first time. We lost out on Willian. We lost out on Shaqiri the first time when he was young and in demand. Like we missed every one of our transfers was getting pilfered by Tottenham, by Chelsea, and then once you
did you lose out of them because one, you didn't want to spend the money, or the team wasn't selling them?
No,
the team wasn't
Didn't
selling
want
them.
to
That's
spend
why we
the
lost out,
money.
or the
All
player
those
wanted to go
Andy.
elsewhere.
All those
We
folks
lost
got
two
sold.
deals. One wanted to go to Juventus. The other one wanted to go to Barcelona. They didn't want to come to Arsenal.
All those
What
folks
does
got
Andy think
sold.
about spending
That
money?
time-
Yeah, I want to ask that question to Bandy in the comments, if you don't mind me just interrupting. Bandy, what do you think of our January?
We spend money. Sorry, please continue, gentlemen.
No, because Shaqiri went to Inter Milan at that time. Salah went
Right.
to Chelsea.
Right.
I can't think of the other one I named, but Willian went to Chelsea. Like, it's just they're a little bit out of your grasp. They're not going to be. Give it another year. You win the league. You go to the Champions League 2 years in a row. They're not going to be out of your grasp anymore.
Right.
I mean, Mudryk wanted to go. I just think you guys were sensible about that price. I think he's going to end up being worth it, but it wasn't required.
No. Well, that's the other part to that. We didn't need a Mudryk right now, right? He wasn't going to start for us. So spending that money in a player that you probably don't that's going to bump one of your starters didn't make any sense because that wasn't actually the issue. The issue was depth when we needed to pull these guys to the sidelines, right? To put them in the dugout and on the bench, right? I mean, that's what we need, and we needed it in midfield. We need a lot more players in midfield than we needed elsewhere. We had answers there with some players coming back healthy, like Nelson and Milsif Rowe. If they come back, then the only thing we really needed was the two midfielders, and we only got the one, right? So, and the left center back is a good call.
But Zinchenko can play in midfield, like that's his natural position.
Yeah,
if that was the case, then we would have seen it
Left
by
or
now.
right,
We
yeah.
needed it at some points, and we never used it. Like for me, I look at what he's done. If he doesn't ever play there, I never expect him to just all of a sudden play in that position because he doesn't do that based on what I've seen. He doesn't just put like players are all that we always hear about. These players are multifaceted; they can play in different positions, but Arteta doesn't always implement that just because even when it's needed sometimes, right? Yeah. So that's why I'm like I hear you, but I don't see it enough to say it's going to be a thing with us.
Tierney healthy or
Hey Gary,
yes.
Where can we find this expert analysis that you talk
about?
I
don't know if anybody calls it expert analysis, but you can find me and my friends on the trip on Mondays at 7:30, 12:30 a.m. for those across the pond, or tomorrow morning we will be on the road trip. It's actually going to be an hour earlier tomorrow, 11 a.m. I guess that's 4 p.m. for you guys across the pond.
4 p.m.
We'll be chatting it up and then watching the games as we go along. So check us out there. Mr. Tom is a regular. Actually, not regular. He's part of the show. And we'll see. We have some other guests as well. But
and
we'll see.
Jet, don't you have your analysis too?
Sure. Pop it up there. There you go. Everywhere. 9 to 15 shows a week. I do West Ham, Jets, content. I'm doing more stuff coming up as well around sports. But yeah, catch me in the inner hour. I interview NFL legends that we get, and then I do Premier League show and Jets content. That's
Beautiful.
me. That's
You're missing a Leeds player in that.
The other guys, this Chelsea guy and the Liverpool guy.
You put a Leeds guy in, you'll get a lot more followers.
Oh yeah. So you want the job? Is that what I'm guessing? Is this what you're trying to get at?
Is this my initiation?
Yeah, this is your interview. I don't even know what they're talking about in the comments. Looks confused. Never heard about Modric. No, it's the glasses. That's what it is. As Frank Sinatra said, I did it my way.
You know,
How
I
many
think this is
losses
a
was
good
Noise
time.
Rebel?
We're at the 1 quarter mark of the second half of the show. I think it's time for betting in the dark, don't you
With
think?
Mr. Tom.
Betting in the dark with Mr. Tom.
Come on, love, place your bets.
Oh shit! I need to get my duck.
And by duck, he means, hey.
Yeah, we'll just patiently wait for Mr. Tom,
to get his duck. Only here on the Stoop can you wait for a man to go get his duck.
Break brought to you
In the
by
dark.
People
He's in the
will
dark
over
with a duck.
1 ton of spam.
As Madonna shows, people will wait for the stars, baby. Let me tell you something, brothers. I got the money. I got the route to the money, baby. Hang on, give me a second. What can I say? Oh, right, yeah. I've decided not going to be a draw tomorrow. All right, not going to be a draw. Might be a draw. Now Mark has spoken. But no, I'm going very specific. Excuse me. Saka first, Eddie last, 126 to 1. Boom. Not the biggest money this week, but I think it's going to happen.
I mean, this seems like a very plausible game, like outcome. Saka tends to score early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think it's going to be like a 3-0, or do you think it'll just?
I kind of wonder if Dice is just going to park the bus like crazy.
He's going to park the bus. This is 0-0.
Really?
0-0.
I think
not. You saw what? You know what?
I definitely don't see Everton scoring a goal this game.
Yeah.
No.
It was with
No.
a
And
Irish
Dice
bookmaker.
knows Tarkowski, and Cody is right in there. They're going to play some crushing defense. And
Like they've been doing all year? Is that what you mean? Like they've been doing all year?
Oh,
That's what they're
I'm
going to do all of a
sorry.
sudden?
Not exactly, not exactly a popular opinion.
Right,
Just my 2 cents worth. I really think that Sean Dyche parks the bus with some pretty good defenders, and despite the ability of Arsenal to be able to score, I think Sean Dyche got something to prove. And if I could grow a mustache, I'd feel more confident about this. But let me tell you, Arsenal, Everton, it's gonna be a draw.
Jeez. All right. Are you done?
3-0 Arsenal. 3-0
I got
Arsenal.
3-0 myself.
3-0 Arsenal.
Yeah. I mean, if they played anything like Newcastle, I'll be really surprised. I would be, but I don't think it will last 90 minutes though. And one thing Newcastle realized pretty quickly is that they need to start that out of the gate, and Arsenal does start fast. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
I mean,
it is an earlier game.
That's how you beat Arsenal, is prevent them from scoring early, wear them down. It's just nobody's been able to do it.
No, it wasn't.
And I only say that because Arsenal's not exactly a deep team.
I like the bet.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Oh, commiserations, Mr. Tom.
Get us
on
some
a
bigger
a
money.
very close Wrexham score last week. Very close.
Yes, I got so close to the 4-3.
Oh man.
Boo. After betting in the
great
dark,
game,
can we talk about that? Can we talk about that phantom red card?
Mm.
It
It's your
made
show
no
now, Mark.
sense.
I don't want to talk about FA Cup.
Come on,
I was
Talk
waiting
about
for him to
it.
say something.
Yes,
I was
Chris,
waiting
please
for him
tell
to
me
say
your
that.
thoughts on how.
I know the tradition, like I like it, but I like it the weekend it's on, and then I want to get back to
Premier League, yeah.
Mm.
Okay. The reason I've gone with this, I believe Callum Wilson, the opponent that he has scored the most goals against, happens to be West Ham. I believe he scored 9 times against West Ham. If I'm wrong, then it turns out he scored 8 times past West Ham. But generally, yeah, I think he's due a goal. And just to cap it off for a bit of money, Anthony Gordon's probably going to be a sub. He'll come on. He's probably going to score.
Am I the only
for
one
Italy
that-
Jets' sake, hope it doesn't happen. But
Am I the only one that doesn't understand Newcastle buying Anthony Gordon? I feel like he's already beneath them.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
you're right.
I agree with you.
They want to do this thing where they're seen as buying up young English talent, basically, aren't they? Like,
Maybe they
it's-
think
it's
that Eddie
like
Howe can do
sports
something with
washing.
him.
See,
It's
that's what I think, Ben.
sports washing.
I think
Eddie Howe's
Anthony
a
Gordon
good
can do
coach.
very well at Newcastle. You know, much like Almiron.
Who is that
You see,
really
I
nice
don't
winger
think
that
Newcastle have majorly changed the squad from last season, and he's got the best. He's like what Bielsa did with Leeds. He's got the best out of some players that were very average.
They're a very smart club right now.
Mm.
A very smart club.
But I think there'll be a point where they'll have to start competing with Chelsea for big players.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually, what I think is that, you know, teams like Chelsea would just outspend themselves, and Newcastle is just willing to just pick up these players that are really decent and just need a little coaching for like 35, 40, you know,
The
and
thing
they will
Newcastle
continue
have-
compete for the top 4. You know, I mean, Chelsea has proven that they're doing it all wrong. You know, just
They're not
spend.
gonna pay
We'll just
extortionate
spend. You know,
I think it's going to be
It'll be
2-2.
the wages. They will
I think the
pay.
bigger thing
They
that's
will
gonna
pay
kill
moderate
Chelsea-
transfer fees for a player that they spend a lot of money on in wages, and that's what will convince them to come to the club.
right?
That and winning trophies, obviously.
with Chelsea,
yeah,
those
I think-
contracts are going to haunt them.
I think it's 2-2.
So
2-2. Then
Well,
Newcastle will win 3-2 at the final minute. That's what I think.
who do you think would score at the end then if Newcastle happened to? If that happened,
The third
who in your
goal?
mind gets that winning goal? Yeah.
Buendia.
I think it's going to
Tony
be.
Payford.
I think it's going to be Wilson again because he keeps talking a big game, keeps talking. He won't shut up. So I think he'll get that third goal.
When Diaz on Villa.
Yeah.
That must be why he
The
keeps
betting in the dark has moved kind of quick.
Alexander Ishak. Is he?
I think Ishak is going to score that.
Who's
You'd
no, he's
like
gonna-
to think that he starts.
Ishak's a good player.
I suspect they will bring Anthony Gordon on as a 60th minute sub or something like that. And that is why I've gone for him to score last. The only reason. Plus, it bumped the money up.
Huh.
But the third bet is my big
Oh,
money
crazy.
mania of the week.
Man City 4-2.
It's good odds
Yeah.
for that.
I can see this.
Yeah.
I think Kane will get a goal. And
I suppose it was the Mahrez last that boosted that up.
The thing is, I feel like
it
Hugo
didn't harm
Lloris
it,
has completely fallen apart. I feel like it could be higher than this for Man City.
Keep in mind, they tend to bring Mahrez on and a lot of his.
It was 4-2 last
he
time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
was.
it
And
was.
Mahrez
It
came on and
was.
punished them.
Yeah.
Right.
They were 2 up, weren't they?
You got to
Just
keep in
before
mind
half-time,
this
yeah.
is like considered. This is considered like a Man City bogey ground, right? Because I think the last 3 times they've played there, they've lost by an aggregate of 5-0. But that's very unlikely to get even bigger. Like I think it's time for Man City to like give them a bit of a hiding, quite frankly.
I also think Man City will click on a gear from now.
Is Conte's job at risk if Man City just destroys them?
Not at all.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think they'd be desperate to keep him, and
They got a lot of new toys in the transfer window. It'd make no sense to sign those players and then fire him off. Makes no sense.
I agree with that.
Hey, can you acknowledge Nick Nack and tell him why you make these bets? The comment that I just put up there.
The money.
Okay, Nick,
That's the point.
Because I could easily sit here and just go, yeah, Arsenal are going to beat Everton. Yeah, Man City are probably going to win at Tottenham because they win a lot. And yeah, Newcastle at home are probably going to win. But where's the fun in that? There's no money in that.
We didn't want that.
You'll be putting on a pound and winning £1.20. Mahrez isn't suspended. That's nonsense. They wouldn't offer him in the bet. That's nonsense. They wouldn't do that to me. Would they do that to me?
I'll tell you now.
Anyway.
I don't.
I'll tell you now.
Why 2 people? Nah, this can't be true.
What? Mahrez is suspended?
Why would they have him
Mahrez
in the
is
bet
not
if he was
suspended.
suspended?
They said Wilson
He's
was
not
still
suspended.
injured. Though. Colin Wilson was injured, but I mean, I don't think
Not
he's injured anymore.
Just change it to Holland 3 goals.
Benjamin Mendy suspended. Stones injury. Foden injury. That's it. Mahrez is playing.
Is that true, Ben? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can confirm that.
That's all right, Mo Master and Macronical. I won't demand apologies because I'm not that sort of person. It's all right.
But you'll shame them into it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
No, the important thing is that if this wins, we will be friends again. That's all right.
And Richarlison's questionable with a muscle injury.
Yeah, but he's a
You
questionable
didn't need to say
footballer.
part of that statement.
What, my statement?
He's just questionable.
Richarlison's
It says
scored less
questionable.
Premier League goals this
Richarlison
season than
muscle
Patrick
injury.
Bamford. Bamford's played like 2 games.
I'll tell you who's questionable
but
for Leeds.
Richarlison has played like 30 times the games that Bamford has played in the last year.
And Bamford's outscored him.
Questionable. Tyler Adams.
Fair enough.
And
Fair
Liam
enough.
Cooper.
You know, I mean, I hear, with Rodrigo's injury, Leeds is asking for Bamford to step up, but he immediately broke his ankle.
He's rebranded that.
What did I say under Bender name? Did I? That's the one.
Because he stepped up.
All right.
I don't see it being that close.
Who do Leeds have this weekend?
Forest away.
Forest. We've got to win it. There's just no.
Yeah,
I just
got to
want
win it and then propel onwards to the next 2
like
games.
a loss, surely.
Daniel, I just watched a television show that makes me understand why you guys call them the Scabs.
Wasn't it because of some union strike?
The minor strike. I watched a show called a 6-part show called Sherwood. Really good. That was about the minor strike. We don't need to talk about it anymore, but
that's correct.
I was like, oh, that's why Ben calls them the Scabs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to get that 6
Well, I
seconds
think
back.
the Leeds United folks are looking forward to May Day. You guys
when we've got the
playing
scum
some sort
twice.
of revenge match, huh?
The scum twice in 4 days or something. That should be fun.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but
Do you know? Wouldn't it? Let's just speak in like dreamland. Would it not be great Just 6 points.
Well, because
I think everybody would be
media are
happy
now
here.
firmly up their arse with like, oh, they've won 12 home games in a row. Oh, Marcus Rashford's got not scored in like 9 games out of whatever it was. It's like,
What?
yeah, that's what they're talking about. Man United are back, baby. They're not. They're not.
So, does anybody know anything
Maybe.
about this Austrian
They're
they've
not
just
back,
bought?
but they're building.
Who's the midfielder they've just bought? I don't know much about him.
Hobitzer?
They've bought him from Bayern Munich, so he's obviously amazing.
Really
He
good
probably
at
is
really good at
Yeah.
Leipzig.
Yeah, he was really good. Leipzig.
We've got a Munich midfielder, so
But he could barely
It's
get
Marsh's
a game
guy.
in. He could barely get a game in because he's competing with Kimmich and Goretzka.
What?
Yeah.
He's very good box to box. He can kick the shit out of the ball. Like
I'm sorry, guys.
It's a
We've
good
been
signing.
live for 92 minutes, right? Or sorry, 91 minutes, and we've not acknowledged that Junior Firpo scored last week. Like, what's going on?
Well,
You
I'm,
know what?
I'm
Nobody
pretty
knows who that guy-
disappointed that
nobody knows
you
who
didn't
that guy
mention him in
is.
Leeds transfer.
His
ban.
mustache
Nobody
gave
knows who
the
that guy is.
worst
Oh,
presser.
I'm trying to
I was
mention
so
him.
bored.
Every time I open my mouth.
Can we give Patty some credit on that in the setup that he did? Was it Patrick Bamford that set him up?
I'm giving Paddy a goal for last week because Sinistera
you know
took
what?
that off him.
That
was pretty.
The pass was quite pretty.
It
But
did take a slight
That boss
deflection.
had swaz, baby.
it was what it was. Noto's goal was much better, but for you Arsenal fans out there,
The good thing is
I was watching that like
Do you notice that
whoever
Firpo
that
got
kid
better
is
after
in League One, you know, in the I think it's the French league. Balogun. Balogun, is that his name?
Balogun.
Balogun.
More
Oh,
importantly,
that was a
notice how
very
Lionel
pretty
Messi got
goal.
better after he met
But the center back that served him up just right in the fucking in the box.
That's a beautiful pass.
Who's the Emmanuel? Good. I don't know his name.
That's right. He's from Brooklyn. He's got to decide if he's gonna.
He's
play
not
for
from
England
Brooklyn.
or for.
He's
Balogun's
from
from-
Guyana.
Balogun's from
Is he
You
Brooklyn.
Guyana?
bastard! No, the guy that
he's
served
talking about
him
his sister.
the pass because you know he wouldn't have been able to score that without that pass being put at his feet. It was incredible.
But back to Leeds for a second. Sinistera scored in the FA Cup too. Is he back and healthy now?
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
stole
he
that off
stole the
Bamford.
ball from Bamford.
Why only a second? Why
I like
only back to
Sinistera.
Leeds for a second? Let's keep talking about
Yeah, well, I think Leeds' forward options are
Really good now.
yeah, we're spoiled now. I feel.
Yeah.
I couldn't name my favorite 3 to start right now.
You got to have Nato in there,
Lolo said it.
Yeah,
That's
right?
the guy that
and
that's
then
the guy I
you've
couldn't
got
pronounce.
Sinistera to pick from.
Yeah.
The new guy Ruter, then obviously Harrison.
It's nice having options to pick from. It's nice having a
Somerville.
wealth of options to pick from, and instead of sitting there and being like, "Well, we've got to put Daniel James up front."
Oh, Tyler Roberts is coming on.
Like we bought Daniel James to be a winger, and then I think he only ever played up front because we bought him. We bought a player in the only position on the pitch where we didn't have injuries,
Yeah.
basically. And yeah, it's true. Rodrigo is injured, and no one's actually fretting about it because we've just gone out and spent 35 million on forward. So
Right.
And Bamford's
He
back.
strikes the
So we've
ball.
got
He's
covered.
had a bit of a bad
Bamford's
break
back,
this
yeah.
season, man.
and
He had the
exactly,
shoulder
and Bamford's
injury
got the
early
Midas
on,
touch.
and now the ankle injury. I mean, he was having a pretty prime season this year. You
So
know,
I got to address Momaster's comment about Balogun doing it in a farmers league. Yeah, it's not the best league. But I think it's like eight of his 14 goals are against like the top 6 clubs
It's
League
still a
One,
top
so-
5 league. It's still
Yeah,
impressive,
it's still
no matter
it's
how
still a
you
good
look at it.
league. Yeah.
He's scoring against PSG and Marseille and
Right.
Rennes. Like he's scoring
Right.
against
And
the best.
Lily too.
not to be
So,
offensive,
Not only that, but some of the best
Like,
scorers in the world
I
are
don't
in
even
not
that
to be
league,
offensive
and
to
nobody would
Master here,
say,
but
"Oh, it's the league."
La
it's
Liga,
terrible,
La
so
Liga's
it's not that
hardly
good. They're
hardly
not
the
that
league it
good of
used to
an
be, is it?
performance.
It's
right?
not. Yeah, Ben.
But
La Liga's awful.
France has
Very
always been a
disagree.
good league to recruit out of because stylistically, it's probably the most similar to the Premier League. Like
Hmm.
French transfers, I think,
Although-
work out more frequently than
German.
than
But
German. I think,
you
for
say
sure.
that, and you're probably not wrong. But the common belief is that Portugal is the most similar league in terms of
Yep.
value for money.
But Portugal has been a good league to buy out of
Yeah.
as well.
To get good young players.
For
yeah.
years, there's
Long
gems come from
But
Portugal.
I mean, your perception is if you get the player out of Portugal, it'll cost you less than if they go from Portugal
Yeah.
to France and then you buy them.
Yeah, but the new Portugal is just buying from Brighton because Brighton is just going in and buying the players that Porto would historically.
The thing you got to keep in
Wow.
mind, though, what makes Brighton important in the football system, like people have said, oh, why ain't Arsenal scouting these players? And like, as an example, I've seen it said about Arsenal. Why ain't Arsenal scouting the player? But the point is, you won't play them. Brighton do.
Yeah.
And Brighton showcase the player for you to then want to buy. Whereas if you bought them, they're playing under 21 football and getting a loan to Norwich after 6 months. Now, I'm sure the loan for Marquinhos will be helpful, but that ain't going to net you a £100 million player overnight, is it? Like Brighton have, through playing him in the first team and developing him and showcasing the players. Although well done to Benfica, because selling a player for 105 million that you only paid 10 million for 5 months ago is all kinds of impressive.
I mean, Benfica gets a lot of players from River Plate in Argentina, and then they just flip the profit. It's
River
smart.
Plate are getting about 25 million out of this. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's good to me. I like it.
So win-win-win.
But it's still massive profit for
for
everyone
sure.
involved.
I mean,
those-
regardless of the money exchanged, it's a huge fucking risk. Jesus fucking Christ. To literally gamble that much money on someone who made 7 caps was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he's been kind of like a wonder kid for a while, but yeah, it's always a risk. But
You see that price tag comes with a pressure in itself.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, it
I
does.
was gonna say that. Can you name a player that has been sold for over 100 million that isn't considered a bust?
Mbappe.
Mbappe and Neymar.
But you think Neymar's not a bust? But
I
they've
think
not
he's-
won
yeah.
the thing that
I think he's huge.
they've not won the thing that they bought him.
Neymar's
for.
a bust. I mean, he hasn't
Bust.
won what he should have, but he's been top
No,
10 player in the
what I
world.
mean- don't get me wrong. If someone says that
I
they
think
don't
it's all
he's a
kind of
bust, then fine.
relative.
But they're buying
know?
him for. Well, Bale was about 89 though. I mean, actually, plus Grealish upwards, like Coutinho.
Yeah, you mean like Dembele, for example, who
Yeah.
went to Barca, didn't really hit it off. He's
He's been
settled
pretty-
a bit.
better
He's settled
now,
a bit
but
now, hasn't he?
Anyway,
But
Yeah, he's settled
don't get
now,
me wrong.
but-
I'm sure there's going to be a couple that weren't. That's not my point. My point is that
Yeah.
more often
Right,
than not,
right.
they're not returning the investment that you actually make it.
Yeah.
no, I agree.
I just think the
Yeah.
PSG ones have turned out relatively well, but they haven't
Not all of them.
they haven't achieved their end goal. But no one could say Neymar's been bad. He's been hurt a lot, but I mean, Barca
No, I
struggled.
get that. But
Barca struggled the
down on
most.
5, if you spent 200 million on a player and you didn't win the Champions League, what would you say about it? when you're in a league that you win every year, and I don't want to say by default, that's not fair. But
No, that's not fair.
generally
I think
speaking,
that's- I
they
think
could
that
not
comes
play
down to-
Neymar and they'd win it.
I think that's more of a criticism of transfer policy than if the individual player was a good purchase or not. Because I think PSG only really became a disciplined team in transfers probably in the last 18 months when they changed their director of football. Like before, it was just like, let's load up the top and kind of have, you have Marquinhos is a good center back. Thiago Silva's good, but he was really old when he was still playing there. They were very weak in the back. I think they're a much stronger club now. But
Well, I didn't say that to attack Neymar.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my point was more the £100 million players, Grealish upwards, generally don't return the investment more than they do, which I find quite fascinating because there's various reasons why the players are the prices they are. Like Grealish is only that because it was a Premier League to Premier League transfer, in my opinion.
The only reason it's going to start paying off is because you're going to start seeing 7 to 10 of these a year now, as opposed to one a transfer window. Like,
Right.
100 is the new 50, basically, for transfer prices.
What's going on, guys? I've been listening to you guys, but I didn't realize you kicked Mark out of here at some point. Where did Mark?
He left.
He kicked himself.
Now he's
No,
back.
I'm right here.
Here he is.
Too
much football talk.
No. I'm just kind of wondering where it ends. I mean,
The show?
We yes, the show.
Just wondering when this fucking thing ends.
Just
man.
wondering when this show ends, so I can go
When
and live about my
dries
life.
up, when the money dries up, it will go
No,
away.
I
But
just
people are keep
I
watching,
just
so
look
it's
at
not going anywhere.
I look at things, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around how the world of football is absolutely starving, and on one side and on the other side, it is just getting ridiculously fat.
Mark,
I
sound like
I mean, the Premier League
mother.
The Premier League becomes the
too
Super
many
League.
of us starving.
Okay, well,
Meanwhile,
just
Chelsea
make sure you put the seat down when you're done pissing.
No, Mark. Mark, I had this thought earlier today. I bet on the Chelsea match, a $1 thing, and like at the end, I was like just hoping for a goal to come in, and I would win $20. And then I had a moment going, I bet $1, and I'm standing here hoping for $20. They just spent $100 and something million on this 20-year-old. That's like, we're not living in the same world as these people. Like,
Well,
this
no,
is
because
crazy.
they're in the Champions League, and I really think in the long run that's kind of what they're putting their eggs. That's the basket they're putting their eggs in right now.
I think this leads to
just, I mean, you're seeing a change in the balance of power, and the way that we're focusing on. We're looking at a smaller picture, and I think some teams are looking at it like a much bigger picture. I don't know. Everyone criticizes Potter for like losing X, Y, and Z amount of games in the Premier League since he started, but he's undefeated in the Champions League. And these signings, no matter how much money they spent, I don't think there's a question on where their focus is.
Can I give you an example of how strong the Premier League is? In this transfer window, I might have the team names wrong or that, but the sentiment is true. You're getting AC Milan going after a player, and then Bournemouth go after the player, and AC Milan top out.
Exactly.
They know they can't financially compete with Bournemouth.
Yeah, Zaniolo.
They're in the Champions League. They're the champions of Italy, and they can't compete with Bournemouth.
I think the inevitability is that there are going to be 2 super leagues. One already exists. It's the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I think the top, like, as much as I hate it, because I like the continental leagues too, I can't. If this goes on for another 2 years, Madrid, Barca, and Juventus are going to rally up the top 15, 20 clubs in
It's their
continental
fault in the
Europe.
first place.
Again.
You got the same thing over. You got the same thing over here in the States with the colleges, because the big colleges, the way they recruit compared to the rest of the other colleges is not even close. Not even close. When you look at the players that go to the professional ranks, they come out of the same schools, the same conferences, and the same thing's been mentioned there, where they're going to have like a big 5. The top 5 conferences will play against each other, or the top 25 teams, or something like that. Right. So it's happening all over the place.
Well,
it's,
I think the only way
no
that you
parity
could
anymore.
actually make that comparison is that if like the JUCO, the JUCO colleges were like the feeder league into the Division 1. We are seeing teams and leagues that are being feeders into the Premier League. It is just I'm sorry. I'm blown away by the amount of money that has been splashed around and is I think is so bad for football. I mean, we've seen it for forever, but this particular year, the January window was just grotesque.
Well,
It was twice what was spent last year, and last year they spent 500.
Yeah, but Mark, have you been to the
million.
store? Have you purchased eggs lately?
Chelsea,
it's like if Tony Cruz were eggs last year.
Eggs. Ain't
Chelsea,
talking about the pantyhose that used to be known
expensive.
as legs. The came in an egg.
Hey guys,
I don't know.
This is far too serious of a conversation for me right now. Can I ask you guys? Did you guys happen to watch? I know it was a long episode, but I thought it was great personally. But I see Stan the Man in the comment section right here. Did you guys happen to watch the episode that I put out with Stan and Melvin?
Yeah, I watched
I
it.
listened to the whole
Which
thing.
one?
I got the memo.
One or the 17-minute one?
I mean, the 17-minute one is in the long one, so it's just.
I read it in Arabic.
One. You read it in Arabic?
Nice.
Perfect.
I thought you watched it in Chinese.
But no, so I was interested in getting into that with so they were talking about how the difference in old school fans, new school fans, this sort of instant gratification of the modern fans, the fan who grew up with social media and everything. So they were saying, like Stan was saying, coming home late night, putting on teletext, which is like on TV, a scrolling ticker. Explain teletext to us, Tom.
Teletext was basically like an interactive news service, essentially, on your TV, where various things would be coded on a 3-digit thing, where, say, like football would be 301 on the BBC. And then
410 on the ITV.
Yeah, and the live score would be 316, ironically enough.
The BBC version was called CFAX, wasn't it?
Yep, that's true. I personally enjoyed a thing on Channel 4's teletext called Bamboozle, where it's like a daily quiz, and it was similar to like most remotes now, where you'd have the coloured things at the bottom, like red and all that, and you'd type it in corresponding to the answer. As told, it was fascinating. But I remember I commented this on the video. When Sky got the rights to the Premier League and it became more prevalent in English homes, that their hook on teletext was, well, we're going to offer every Premier League team's going to have their own page. So it was basically the first sort of dipping your toe into like a fan TV, essentially. a website as such. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'd go on the Leeds one and it wouldn't change for a week because there'd be no news. But we had it, and that was essentially, other than football magazines and things like that, that's how you'd find out about your rumours.
Yeah,
Even like,
before Sky,
your
you used to get a section called News in Brief, and you'd maybe get like 3 or 4
So I just
sentences,
put
and
the
that's
link
it.
down there for the video for the episode if you guys want to click it and save it. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting thinking about how, like, a question, Gary, you might enjoy this. One of the questions that I asked was there any trust the process back then? Like, is there a debate over trust the process? And I think Melvin said like, trust the process. You had no clue of a process. You just showed up to the stadium, watched the match, and that's it. That's
I tell
all
you,
you
one
got.
thing
Like,
that modern day, the modern day has sort of benefited. It gives you the more tools to talk about other clubs, because you don't when it was teletext days, you'd only really ever talk about your club either at the match or in the pub with your mates or whatever. Do you know, you didn't tend to know as much about everybody else's club.
and did you know anybody on your under 21s, on your under 17s? Did you
I
know?
did when we
like,
won the Youth Cup and we beat Man United, and we had Jamie Forrester and Noel Whelan and Mark, whatever.
That was a thing. Sorry to interrupt. That is a thing. The one thing that was different from when I was younger would basically be if a youth team player came through, it was really exciting because it was a new player. You didn't pay for him, basically, and you knew nothing about them because they just came out as if from fucking nowhere, and they're in your team.
Yeah, like Alan Smith did. Yeah,
So it's like an academy kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you have access. Like, we can watch the Leeds under 21s on YouTube and things like technically you know more about these players than you ever would at any point in the history of the club. Like, it would be, who the fuck is Noel Whelan, sort of thing, because he'd pop up as a substitute in 1994 and things like that. But
yeah. Anyway, guys, it is the last 10 minutes of the show, and Director John has popped up the StreamYard link there. So, boom, if you would like to join us and talk with us, if you don't think there's enough people on this screen already, go ahead and join us, and we'll get in there. We may need to remove, like, the standings, John, in case, I don't know how it does it, but yeah, very, very
But I worked
interesting
so hard
debate.
on them.
Well, you can post them on the screen then. But it was a very interesting conversation. If you guys haven't listened to it, and yes, I promote our videos all the time, but I think this is a sort of very special episode that we can go back to a lot of times because it's not about one particular thing that happened right now. It's more about life, like the changing life of a fan, like what it was like. And I mean, Jet, Chris, Mark, Gary, us people in the States, you couldn't even watch Premier League or English football, European football,
anything really.
Yeah. 2000.
Was teletext around in the early 70s? When did it first come about?
I think
in England,
I think it was an 80s thing.
The only reason why I asked is because when I was because I was born in England, but I remember the 3 channels, but I don't remember the teletext. That's why I was wondering, because I left in the early 80s. So
I do the zone
I could
now.
be wrong.
1974.
It goes back as far as I. Oh, okay.
1974.
Okay, so it was around. Yeah.
It was created by John Adams Phillips.
Technically, you could buy a holiday on the teletext.
Yeah. Oh, it used to be pages of it, didn't it? Flight, like it was a cheap holiday. It was like, yeah.
I just think I love Stan's. I love
Stan's
like
300 pages before you got to your holiday.
And Stan, was it Bergkamp? You said Stan was in Ibiza, and he's like, his girl goes into the shop, and he just happens to look down at a newspaper saying Arsenal signed Dennis Bergkamp, for $7 million, and he's like looking around for somebody to talk to about it, and nobody gives a shit. Like nobody cares, and so he's talking to his girlfriend about it. She doesn't care. Can you imagine that right now? Like the Mudryk deal, the Jorginho deal, any of these deals, not having anybody
deadline
you
day
can
was
talk
like
to?
in 1997. In England, in English football, in 1997, we did deadline day in March. There was no transfer window. It literally just was on like the 17th of March. You can't buy any more players, sort of thing like that. And deadline day would literally just be spent pressing refresh on teletext, usually on the page where they just had lists of names. And you'd be like, who the fuck is Bruno Ribeiro? That'd
awesome.
be it.
What's going on,
He was
Anders?
a Portuguese
We've got
legend.
Anders from
That's
Sweden.
it anyway.
Hello.
There's teletext. Is it still on? Like, is
Yeah,
teletext
it's still on. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's still a thing? They haven't changed the Ericsson rules out Sweden switch.
This is from Thursday, the 20th of October.
Wow. That's
It's
awesome.
still on, yeah.
And meanwhile, in the States,
all my news.
we were dealing with squiggle porn.
Yes. No, I don't know. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Actually, what is that
I have
again?
no idea what you're
You'd be
talking
walking
There's no
down the
exposed.
street
There's
and
no
someone
exposed.
Hold him, I don't
on the street level window, you would
Tomorrow's
see
road trip.
someone watching
You said yes
not
way too fast.
squiggle porn, but scramble porn. And when you were
No.
like
The best. What about the
14,
best is like you
15
had
years
to
old,
like if you wanted to keep focus, you had to move your
when
head.
you had
and just scribble it
control
off
of
the
your
screen.
TV, you tried
That's
to
what they
turn
tell
that
me anyways.
knob
That's what they
just
tell me.
you tried to turn that knob
Oh,
just
man.
a little bit.
Mark has a point. He's like, no,
That's
it's
not
called
PG.
scramble porn, but I think
Everyone
it's like soda
does.
and pop. I think it's like soda and pop. Where I was from, it was squiggle
No,
porn.
it was
but
it
you
was
hear it as
scramble
scramble
porn.
porn.
And then
you
one
hear it
year-
as,
And I'm
like,
not
wavy
talking
porn.
like duck, gray duck shit.
And what year
I'm
did
just
it go
talking-
from scrambled to just a blue screen? And that was like, well, that was great when while it lasted.
Oh, I
And
hated
every
that.
once in a while, it
Hated
would
that.
it would focus, right?
But you,
And then it
but
would-
you know
and then it
what?
would go
Yeah,
away
No, but
again.
you would get between channels. You would just be like, you get out your on the little
That's what they
dial.
tell me, anyways.
yeah.
That's what
But
they
you know
tell
what, guys? Wasn't that so
That's
much
the only-
better?
What
Uh,
scramble porn
Wasn't
was
it so
on
much better?
on
Like
TV.
Stan is there in Ibiza, and he's like, "Oh, we got Dennis Bergkamp. That's awesome. I'm happy with that." Back in the day, squiggle porn, we see one nipple. You're like,
won.
fucking bang on.
You
I'm
won.
good for a week.
I don't know what
I
you're
won.
talking about. What are
Yeah,
they-
Now-
Guys,
Nowadays-
we
Guys, what are they
watched
talking
Benny
about?
Hill.
Chris, do you know what they're talking
We
about?
watched Benny Hill.
Nowadays-
Yes.
You're looking at 800 naked pictures, and you're like, these aren't good enough. These aren't good enough.
Wait. No, that's the guy. Shit.
Oh shit.
That's a guy.
Take it back.
Oh,
Oh my god, it's
You got
squiggle porn. That's what I remember.
No, this is teletext in Swedish.
Ah.
That's fucking awesome. So to bring all this together, that's Anders' finger.
His fingers.
I don't know what we're looking
You
at.
taking a
there.
It's a little bit like scrambled porn right now.
Anders, you need a manicure.
Are those boobs? No, I know those are.
I still
Isn't this
I
like a
feel like
scene out of
we're-
like Cheech and Chong?
Oh
my God,
Screen's gone
teeth.
black.
Anything.
Your screen's gone black.
Been black
Yeah,
for
your
about
screen's
half a
not
minute
there
now.
anymore.
But guys, this is going to be great on our podcast, by the way, because we are now on Spotify, and I can't wait for people to get 2 hours into this podcast and be like, "This went off the rails."
I don't know what you
As
guys are
they're
talking
like
about.
listening to Anders holding up his phone. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, it has been a fantastic evening. Thank you, Mark, for covering for me while I was away for a little bit, putting the little monsters to sleep. Guys, I don't know if you guys got enough to say enough about your club, but we will be back next week, and we'll be back with a bunch of videos all throughout the week as well. And I hope you guys are liking our stuff online and subscribing. And we are on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, and we are now on Spotify and Amazon Music and all that stuff. Don't forget to check out Mr. Tom's Wrestling Podcast. It is called Full Nelson
It's the
Podcast.
Full Nelson.
It's 50 ways to lick our butthole.
Okay,
I'm
no.
50 ways
to lick your butthole.
No, that's just not the way to end the show. Can we try again?
Oh man. Ooh.
Another exit, please.
I gotta say that if that was the title of our show, we might get more views. 50 Ways to Lick Your Butthole, a football show.
Oh, he did it his way.
He did it his way.
I think it's about Aston Villa.
So, thank you guys for joining us. We will be back next week, but very good to see you all. Thank you, Director John. And if you want to join us backstage for even more nonsense, we will continue the nonsense for a little while here. Click the link. It'll throw you in backstage, but we only have room for 10. That's only 2 more people, so click it now. All right, guys, much love to everybody. I hope all your teams lose except for Gary's and Mark's and Tom's and Ben's and Anders. I don't know who West Ham is playing.
Newcastle.
Yeah, I hope you win too. Been good. Chris?
Feeling the threat, are you?
Peace.